Hi there, this is Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club, and today I am making a layout inspired by the mood board for this month, but using the January kits. I don't have my February ones yet, I'm still waiting. Being in the UK, I have to wait a bit longer than everyone else, so I'm still working with January. I had the main kit, the Project Life kit, the embellishment kit and the colour kit. I've used the colour kit quite a lot for today's layout, and there's the mood board for this month. So it's a February mood board. It's very, very pink. It contains some great images. It has this kind of scene with some trees and maybe the moon in the background, or possibly the sun, all in shades of pink, and it starts off light in the middle and gets darker towards the outside, and that's what I'm going to recreate today. So I've gone back to basics. I'm just trying to find the middle of my cardstock with a ruler and a pencil, and I'm using a pair of compasses to create concentric circles. I've made 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've made 5 circles, so that gives me 4 sections to colour in, and what I'm going to colour this in with is the modelling paste that came in the colour kit. There it is, it's a Prima one, and the Colour Bloom 2 in the pink colour. So what I've done, what I'm aiming for, is to use this modelling paste and create a really pale pink to begin with, and paint my first circle with that modelling paste. It's a bit of a weird concept to paint with modelling paste, but I thought I would give it a go, and actually I really like the results. The reason I decided to do this was, one, to recreate the image with the concentric circles, but also one of the other images on the mood board is very textured paint swatches, or so what brush strokes, that's the word I was looking for. Because of that texture, obviously modelling paste is ideal to create texture with, because that's what it's for, and when it dries it will stay textured. So I'm messily painting on my modelling paste. I'm onto the second circle now. You can see that I added an extra squirt of the Prima Colour Bloom 2 spray, and just to make it a little bit darker. It's obviously mixed with the white modelling paste, and it's coming out more of a purpley pink than a bright pink, which is perfect because that's very similar to the colours in the mood board. So I'm moving on to my third circle now, and I've just added another squirt of the Prima Colour Bloom 2, and you can see that I've got another darker shade here. So basically I've kept the same amount of modelling paste. I squirted quite a lot onto my craft sheet in the beginning, and I've added the small amount of the colour, used that, and I've added a bit more of the colour and use that, so to the same texture paste, if you know what I mean. And then for my final circle I'm going to add another squirt of that texture paste, of that spray, to make the darkest circle for the outside. It was getting a bit wet by this point. Obviously the spray is very runny and the modelling paste isn't. It's a paste, so therefore it was becoming more liquid with every spray that I added, but it was still fine. It's still working really well and still has held its great texture. Now the only problem with this technique was that you can see through it. It's not it doesn't completely cover my pencil lines, so if you see the layout in real life, you can actually still see those pencil lines, which I wasn't too sure I was happy with to begin with, but actually in the end, now that my layout is complete, it's really not a problem. So you can see now I have got this really great textured circle there, I say a good representation of the image on the mood board, and the very textured paintbrush strokes. So that's my background. It's pretty much done. I need to leave it to dry, but I got a bit carried away. You'll see in a moment that I start adding some gems that were in the kit this month, and I wanted to I was considering adding those around all of the circles, but there was no way I would have had enough to go all the way around each of the circles. So in the end I decided to just add them in certain places around the circles. before I started adding these gems, I was trying to establish what background would look good behind my my layout. I wanted to have a border on it. The circles themselves aren't quite big enough to take up the entire layout, so I did want to bring that down a little bit to 11.5 inches square and then add a coloured border around the edge of the layout. You can see me go there adding the gems, so I've added quite a lot there. I was always expecting to cover the centre of my circle with my photo because I wanted to cover up the point of the compass, and you can see there in here that this is actually a couple of days later now that I've added more and more gems, and obviously have left my layout to dry completely, my background to dry completely. So I'm now still gone back to trying to work out what colour would be best as a border, and I have settled on the Pink Fresh Studio Everyday Musings one, which has a kind of purpley pink colour. It's a solid pattern with like geometric lines, and actually that colour looks awesome with my pinky purpley background there that I've done. And now what I'm doing is I'm going through the kit and pulling out all of the pieces that have similar colours. Obviously this mood board for this month is super duper pink, and I really didn't feel there was many other colours I could introduce. There is a very small amount of kind of a yellowy colour within the image of the concentric circles. There's also kind of a greeny blue in the image of the leaves and the sunset or sunrise, but really not a lot of other colours except for the bright pink. So I'm aiming to go with that. I have introduced a small amount of yellow and a small, very tiny amount of green, but otherwise that is it. I've tried to stick directly to pink, exactly to pink. So I'm just trying to work out how to best to embellish my layout. Obviously I want the background to show, but I need to incorporate my photo and my embellishments onto those circles as well. So just going through and working out what's what. I've pulled out some chipboard shapes. They're from the Joyful Day Pink Fresh Studio frames. They had some little icons in the middle of the frames, so I've pulled out some of those, the bow and the pinwheel and a flower. I've also pulled out some other flowers, one of the tassel bows, some bits of ephemera, and some two layered hearts actually. They are so beautiful. They are the Everyday Musings collection by Pink Fresh, and they're really, really lovely. They're just little hearts with a layered banner on top of them, and they have lovely sayings. So the two that I've used on here are full of joy and life is beautiful. So that works well, particularly the full of joy. And that's because this layout is about tidying up. And I don't know how many of you know about Marie Kondo and her book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Well, we are doing that in our house at the moment. There is a major declutter going on at the moment, and my daughter is getting involved and she's loving it actually. So this is a picture of her having done her drawer in Marie Kondo fashion. So I'm calling the layout The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying. Also I've used the journaling card behind the photo that has the word goals at the top, and I've also used the flare badge that came in this month's kit that says hello 2019. So even though we didn't start 2019 with this goal in mind, it's definitely a goal that has developed for us over the last few weeks. And it's something that's really taken over our house. We have started something that we now need to follow through with and finish up with. So house is slightly chaotic at the moment, but we're enjoying doing it. It's a good process to go through. So you can see there I'm struggling a bit with my title. I have tried to fit in the life-changing magic of tidying around the edge of my circles. Couldn't fit the last word, the tidying, in a place I wanted. I didn't want to then split it and have it going under the photo. So the word tidying I've tried in a few different places, and in the end I settled just under the word magic. I've used those really cute, lovely Pink Fresh Studio alphabets, those mini ones. They're so cute. I love them. They've been in a few collections of theirs now, and they're definitely my new favourite letter. I love the fact that they are all individual mini letters. They're really, really sweet. And I've also used the multi-alpha Pink Fresh Studio alphabet as well, so different colours, and I've picked out the pinks, reds and purples so that it all fits in with the mood board colour scheme. And what I'm doing now is I'm pretty much there. I've got my 3 areas of embellishment on my layout and my title, but it's just not quite done for me. I'm just not overly happy with it. So I'm going through and seeing what else I can add in, adding in some enamel dots, some puffy stickers, yeah, I'm still just not feeling it. So I'm going to write in my journaling now, explaining the purpose of the layout and the photo that is there. And then I'm going to come back to it, and you'll see in just a second that I really go for it with the paint splatters around the edge of my circles. I just felt there was a bit too much white space around the concentric circles. Obviously the circles don't fill up the whole layout, and that was something that I was quite concerned about. I kind of wish I'd done another circle and gone a shade darker, but my texture paste was really getting runny by this point and I didn't feel that I could do that, so I stopped where I was. And yeah, so therefore I feel that it just needs a little something extra. So oh, actually, before I move on to my paint splatters, I'm adding some dark grey stars from the Chamel Head in the Clouds rubber stamps that came in this month's kit. So I've added those random points around the layout. I wasn't sure how it was going to stamp on top of the texture paste, but actually it's fine. I've used the Stays On ink in dark grey, and it's completely dried, no smudging at all, so great. And now I'm really going for it with my paint splatters. So I'm just trying to fill up that white space a bit. I didn't go above the title, but I went around the whole of the rest of the circles. So there you go. That's my layout complete for this mood board. Thank you very much for joining me today. That was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.